And then he said, don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems, wish for more skills.
I can't catch a break, guys.
Yeah.
Get them the fuck away from me. I can't be around those guys.
People think, oh, well, cleaning your room, that's just a cliche. It's like, yeah, really, eh? Just go ahead and try it.
If people had any idea how powerful sleep is for healing from anything, and the fact that it's free.
My mind is absolutely bulletproof, solid as a rock.
Podcast. And we're live. How are you, Ash? Ready to rock?
Ready to go, Brandon?
Good stuff. All right, guys, welcome everybody to the Fight and Fit show again. So this week we have Aislinn Matthews, and she is honestly one of our most accredited athletes that we have here in the gym. So, you know, absolutely top level sprinter. Ash, why don't you tell the guys just kind of a little bit about your credentials? What are some of the achievements that you picked up over the years?
Okay, so I started back into running when I was 36. So I'm a master. Once you go over 35, you're in a master's category. I ran when I was younger and I gave it up, and it was the biggest regret I ever had. So decided to give it a go, get back into it. So just joined Blackrock AC 2 years ago, nearly 2 years ago now, and started training with them. They have a lot of girls, teenage girls that I can train with, and they're sprinters. Coach Mary Scanlon is fantastic. Training with her at the minute. Going to be fun times now come November because we're going to be racing against each other. So, but that brought me back into athletics again. As I said, as a teacher, I always ran around. I gave it up. Biggest regret. So just over the last couple of years, competing in the Masters, I competed in the Louds, the Leinsters, the Nationals, both indoors and outdoors. So the indoor season starts through your winter training, and it starts in January, which is March. And then you go to the outdoor season, which is in August.
Okay.
So I've been competing for the last, I suppose, competitively really for the last 2.5, 3 years, but taking a lot more serious over the last 2 years really. Changed everything to get back into it. I'm not doing it kind of half-arsed. Changed everything from gyms to trainers to clubs, routine, food. Changed everything to give it 100%. There's no point in putting all the time in training and only doing 50% of my ability. So I've really trained everything, changed everything to try and get back into it, and thoroughly enjoying it. Absolutely love what I'm doing, and it's going well. So see how the rest of the season goes if we get races at the end of the season.
Yeah, so where would you describe yourself as maybe, did you do it before and not take it serious?
When I was younger,
Yeah, okay. Was that?
Well, no, when I was younger, I competed from I was about 6. I ran with Dundalgan AC. A lot of us did from the area I lived in, down the Key. A lot of us ran with Dundalgan. I took it very serious then. My last competitive race was under 17s in the schools. And then, like everything else, I just started growing up and gone out and met boys, and you know yourself.
Yeah.
Then I had my daughter then when I was 20.
Okay.
I was at college and I had my daughter when I was 20. And as I said, it was just one of the biggest regrets I ever given it up.
Yeah.
The early 30s, I was talking to my partner. We were sitting talking here one evening, and he was like, you know, anything you regret or anything you miss? And I was like, giving up running. He's like, why don't you start again?
Yeah.
At that stage, starting early 30s, I would have been coming to the end of the seniors, and all the seniors now are kind of 19, 20, and you've got Molly Scotts of that are competing in Europeans and stuff. So you're kind of coming out of the seniors and heading towards Masters. And to start then, it was a massive jump in level-wise and ability. So I said I'd hang on till I hit 35 to hit the Masters. So, no, look, delighted to be back at it. Absolutely love it. Competing is just brilliant. And look, I'm one of these people that's like, if someone tells me, oh, you're nearly 40 now, what are you at? I'm like, so it's a number, you know, why can't you do it? Something you love doing it, why can't you do it?
Yeah. I suppose people kind of do it for the accolades and for the status. They don't do it for themselves.
Yeah, that's the thing, exactly. I'm more so of the mindset kind of, age is only a number. If you enjoy getting up, if you go love training every evening or every day, whatever way you train, why not do it? I go to races, don't get me wrong, you love to win medals, but for me personally, it's more about PBs and knowing I did better than I did 2 months ago, and that all my training and all my sacrifices are worth it, in the end.
Yeah. I suppose an awful lot of people as well is that they wouldn't be fit to take up a sport at, 33, 35, to kind of let the wheels fall off.
Yeah, that's it too. Look, as I said, I didn't run for years. I played soccer as well when I was younger. I played soccer with Keith Celtic's ladies team when I was younger as well. But I always had a form of fitness. I was always at a gym, or I always was lightly jogging 3 and 5Ks. Never enjoyed them, mind you, but it was just for fitness. I was always into fitness. Like, I've been in different gyms over the years and stuff like that. I'd never give up that end of it. So there was a basic level there, nothing compared to kind of where I'm at now. I'm probably the fittest I ever was going back now, but back then I always had something to do. We were always into fitness in the house here, me and my partner and that as well. And it was just something that was always there. I suppose the basics were there.
Yeah. And what's your like biggest achievement? Like, what's your biggest out of everything you've ever done? What are you most proud of?
My daughter.
Oh, that's unreal. That's cool.
Yeah, she's 19 now. No, she's at college now and she's studying and stuff. But yeah, look, apart from that, it's a big achievement for me personally getting back to running, because it was something that was the one regret. Look, you only have one life. You have to live it. I don't want to look back when I'm 60 or 70 and go, oh, I should have done this and I should have done that. You can go back to it. Look, I have loads of friends that are like, what are you thinking? You're nearly 40 and you're out running and you're training 7 and 8, 9 times a week. What are you at? But you enjoy doing it. I want to live my life and not look back and go, look, I should have tried this and I'm all for trying stuff. I'm always up for a new challenge anyhow. That's just my personality. That's just the way I am. But I don't want to look back and not have done something I wanted to try somewhere along the way. That's
a great way you kind of looked at there as well, actually, because like if you look back to where you were now, let's say when you're 17, so you're 35 odd now, whatever it is, you look back when you're 18, you're like, oh, geez, you know, like I wish I hadn't quit. Like if you were 50 or 60, you would have been like, I should have started when I was 35.
That's it, exactly.
It's spring chicken.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I look at, like we go to these events, as I said, we're all masters. So master starts from 35s up to whatever. Like there's people still competing over 70 and 75 at them events. There's a man turns up to these events that is, I think he's 81, they said, and he still throws a shot put, 3 kilo shot put at 81 years of age. Like you can do whatever it is you want to do.
Yeah.
And it's just up to you to motivate yourself to do it, or if you really want it that bad, like you can. But look, as I said, it's just my personality is, I love sport, I love challenge, I love being strong, I love feeling fit. And I think I'll always be like that, unless, touch wood, nothing ever happens health-wise or anything. But like, apart from that, I think that's just always my mindset. My partner's the same, so it helps when both of us are like this in the house. And my daughter's the same. She's running now at the minute as well. So when it's in the house like that, it's a lot easier to do it. But it's, look, anybody out there that wants to, or always said, oh, I should have done, or I should have tried, there's always something. Like the masters that we have met and the friends we have met over the last few years, through being back at athletics is just phenomenal. Like, and you'll always have it. Like, but you can carry on as long as you're fit to. Like,
yeah. I suppose as well for you guys, when you go there and you kind of surround yourself in that community. Like, I mean, if you're sitting at home and you're 35 and all your 35-year-old friends are, you know, essentially, you know, couch potatoes, and for you to then go, oh, I'm going to go out and go for a run and all that kind of stuff, like their frame is like, you're the only one doing that, so far as I know. So as far as I'm concerned, there's no model for that. Like, that's not a thing that's done. But as soon as you arrive out there, not only do you see a 35-year-old giving it a go, you see like elite athletes, like people kicking ass and would leave young bucks in the dust. You know, that sort of way.
That's it, and that's one of the things that I love about it. And funny, we've a WhatsApp group there with a lady I race against from Donegal and another lady from England. She's a coach in England as well. And like that banter that's going on all the time is kind of around that like mindset as well. Like it's one of the ladies in particular is like she ran again like me as a teenager and competed at a very high level as a teenager. And she said over the last 3 or 4 years that she actually realised there was masters out there and there was people of our age like getting up and actually going and competing and enjoying it. And her friends, some of her friends now have taken up running. But my friend even that never ran, I've taken up running as well. Like anybody could do it. Like if you really want something, like it's there. It's just about getting up, motivating yourself, and setting yourself a challenge and getting up and doing it. Like,
yeah, that's it exactly. Yeah, and what did any kind of thing that draw you to sprinting in particular? Or was it just kind of something you're strong at? What got you into it?
When I was younger, I always sprinted. It was always 100 meters. Was always my main event when I was younger. When I started with doing the, my mom was a sprinter. My mum was a sprinter back in the day, and she says she got to the stage where she could represent Ireland, but it came down to red tape between different federations and stuff, that she couldn't go. There's 2 federations at the time, and she was, you want to say, in the wrong one, and she couldn't go, but she was the fastest lady in her category. Like, But it's in obviously in the genes. Like if she was a sprinter, yes, you know, my sister Laura is a distance runner. But my two uncles, both sides of the family, my mom's side and my dad's side, are all distance runners and very good distance runners. So I don't know, it's strange that the two of us have completely different. One's a sprinter, one's a distance runner. But it was really my mum from when we were younger signed us up to the running club, and I just took a love to sprinting. Absolutely, yeah. I love the power of it, and I love the going for 3K and a 5K. I'll do it because I set myself a challenge of doing it, but I don't enjoy it. Like,
yeah,
I love just the pure power of doing the track. It's over in 13.5 seconds, like, and that's it.
Intense.
Like, very intense, yeah, it is. But I love it, and that's why I suppose tying in the gym. That's why I love the weights, and that's why I love the powerful work in the gym as well. Like,
it's kind of like gambling in a sense. It's just like it's so like for talk's sake, like I can imagine you're on the starting line there, and the margin for error is so small.
Yeah.
You know, like if you even just have a lapse for a half a second and you miss it, like that, like getting that half second back would be nearly impossible.
That's it, and as you said there, like with the sprinting, it comes down to 1/100th of a second. Like races come down to that, and if you don't, when you hear that bang of that gun, if you stall for 2/100ths of a second, that could be your race over. Like, it's all to do with that initial impact, and it's the intensity of it. Like,
yeah, what's the highlight when you win?
What's the what, sorry?
What's the highlight when you win?
Oh, it's just unbelievable. When you come across that line, half the time you don't even realise, because you're just in a zone, and you just have a zone. And for me, I just pick a spot and I just run to that spot, and whatever happens. Like, I run my race, it's not about worrying who's coming or who's ahead of me or whatever.
Yeah.
I know what my I suppose best bits are of a race, and I know what my worst bits are of a race, and I know where I can win or lose a race. But crossing that line and realising that your name comes up on the screen or wherever else, it's just like, all that hard work and sacrifices was just worth it. Like,
that's class.
It's a class feeling, and it's I find it's driving back down the road to come home, because it's normally in Dublin or Tullamore or Athlone. It's then when you're analysing everything in your head, it's like, you know what, the last few weeks where I didn't go out at the weekends, or I didn't have a drink, or I ate clean, and I didn't do various different things, was all worth it for this.
It comes together.
Yeah, it definitely does.
Yeah. Did you ever have any kind of challenges with your races? Like, what was the biggest? And ever have any major obstacles come against you?
Not really. Well, I suppose from March there, obviously COVID came in, and that happened in the meantime, and that kind of put a stall to all races and everything. We were all in lockdown. But the tear on my hamstring obviously slowed a lot of stuff down. So I found it very, very frustrating that I couldn't train and I couldn't do a lot of stuff over the last few months. I did obviously train away. You guys were brilliant, to be fair. You used to give me workouts for upper body and core work, and I was doing that. Training 3 times a day here in the house, like just to do something, because I'm used to doing something. Like, coming up to races and stuff where I know when I could plan a place, I would train up to 9 times a week, like between running and the gym and stuff. So, but injury is the main thing. Like, and I've been lucky since I changed clubs, and since I changed gyms, and since I changed my whole outlook and my plan. I have been completely injury free. I was just unlucky with this. Before that, I would have been plagued with a lot of injuries, but a lot of it down to my own fault. Like, I was in different gyms and not just in any gyms at all. But I wasn't doing it right. I was going in and I was deadlifting. The last gym I was in 110 kilos, and then I'm trying to run the next night, and I couldn't understand why I was sore my knee or sore my hamstring or my quad or whatever. You just can't do that. Like, it has to be short, sharp kind of movements as well. Like, and you have plyometrics in it. And it took me a while to figure that out. It did take me a while to figure that out. I couldn't understand why I was so strong, yet I couldn't go out and I couldn't pull the times off I wanted to, or I was feeling niggles, or I was feeling tight and I was too tired to run. And it took me a while to figure all that out. And over the last 2 years, I'm with you guys 2 years now in August, since I started there, and I have a diary, I have a training diary, and I put everything into it, and I watch what I'm doing. And it's only then I started realizing, like, instead of going out and maybe deadlifting 110, if I go out and I deadlift 30, but I'm doing more reps, it's benefiting me a lot more.
Yeah.
Look, when the running days are over, I'd love to go into kind of powerlifting or something, just give it a go and see what it's like. But that's completely different. Like, I can't go out and sprint when I'm lifting heavy like that. I know that, but I do know obviously I need so much of that for my power as well, because for me personally, for my race, my block start for me is where I do well in my races. The power coming out of the blocks. I'm normally ahead at that stage in races. So I know what I need from that, but I also need, it took me a while to learn to get the balance right, basically, on it. But I have it right now because my times are improving all the time. Like, so obviously there's room for improvement with everybody, and there still will be, and always will for everything. But no, I have that balance right now, so I know what I need to do when I'm training. But yeah, really.
Yeah, and do you see an end for the running?
Oh no, I'm going to keep going
Forever.
Be a granny, and I'll still be running for the crack.
Yeah, you.
Look,
someone be on the podcast talking about you.
Oh yeah.
Like there's this
no, look, I've
81-year-old
no sign
woman.
of giving it up. I'm only what am I, 3.5 years in total in 2 years series competing, 3.5 years in total. No, the 40 category now for this going into, I'm 40 now November, so we're heading into that new category. And to be fair, in Irish athletics at the minute, it's the category and the people that have in it, like they're phenomenal. Like one girl ran in a meet there the other night, Wednesday night, 13.19 for 100 meters at 40 years of age. So the athletes that have, it's going to be a very, very tough 5 years.
Do you have any kind of gauge, just for anybody listening, maybe doesn't know any of his friends, do you have any kind of gauge, like what do you reckon, let's say just your average person would do 100 meters in?
That's a good question. Average person, to be honest with you, I don't know, Brandon. I can tell you that the 35 to 40 age category for Irish athletics, the record is, I think it's 12:68. And that lady would be miles ahead of kind of where we are. The next to it is 13:01.
Okay.
That's
a big jump.
Yeah, big jump. She's an international athlete. She's a phenomenal lady. She's doing pentathlon at the minute. I don't know, to be honest with you, for average. I know the likes of Molly Scott, who's one of the top sprinters, or Patience from Dundalk, or Gina Moses from Dundalk. They're all low 13 seconds for those ladies. So average, I don't know, I'd guess 14, 15. I'm not sure, to be honest.
Yeah, okay.
14, it's funny
15.
you ask that. A lot of people, like we have a lot of banter with a lot of the distance runners, and anyone can go out and run 100 meters. Anybody can go out and run 100. It's the same way as I can go out and run 3K. It might take me a serious long time, but anybody can do anything they want. But it's just about getting everything right. Like.
Yeah. Do you remember what your starting time was for 100 meters? Like back in the day, maybe when you first started? When
I started as a teenager?
Yeah.
No, I've no idea. I can't, and I'm mad I don't remember, because I would have loved, or look, in hindsight, looking back, I'm mad I didn't log everything. I log all my times now. I'm mad I didn't log it so I could look back then. Like I got to the community games finals, which were the All Irelands, when I think it was under 13s and 14s, like, which would have been at a good level at that stage. But no, I can't remember going back. And I'm mad as I don't have it anywhere. I never kept note of it. But at that age, it was just like, go out and run and get your medals, you know. Like, time for me wasn't really a big factor then. What about when you went back the first time? So after kind of starting your career again? Yeah, God, I was slow. 14.4 was my first 100 meters.
14.4, like that. What's so funny is like that doesn't seem that far away from 13, like 13.4 or 14.4, 13, like.
That's it, like, and it's like my PB last year was, my PB is 13.49. It's a full second nearly off, and it sounds nothing.
Yeah.
But in sprinting terms, it's massive. Like it can be, as I said, it could be a gold medal, it could be no medal.
Yeah, okay. And what any idea? I suppose Usain Bolt will be the bigger turner. What's his time?
9.79, I think.
9.79.
Usain Bolt.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's down in 9 seconds. I think it's 9.79 his.
Any idea who broke the 10-second mark first?
Sorry?
Any idea who broke the 10-second mark first?
No, I don't.
No,
I don't. I know there was a meet on there during the week. I was just actually reading it there earlier on, and there was, I think, 3 or 4 or 2 lads in the race, one under 10 seconds at this stage of the season after lockdown, like, and stuff, which is just phenomenal. Like,
it's mad to think that like a local meet is under 10 seconds, and then Usain Bolt is 9.79. Like, it's that close.
No. A local meet, is it? Sorry.
Yeah, is that what you said? Oh no, it's not a local meet.
No. Usain Bolt. Obviously is 9 seconds. No, it was one of the meets that was on. I don't know if it was in America or Jamaica.
Okay, it was a big boy event.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's it. Sorry, go on.
I was just saying there's a talk of making a comeback as well, Bolt. So
he stopped, didn't he?
Yeah, he retired. He retired a couple of years ago.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's talking about making a comeback now. So he's definitely one of the heroes now.
Yeah. I mean, like, who doesn't know Usain Bolt? Like, he pretty much like made sprinting like a popular sport. Like, really brought it into public view, I think.
Yeah, it definitely did, and the personality seems to have as well. Like he puts on a show for everybody too, which is you can tell he's enjoy. Obviously, everyone enjoys it. That's why they do it. But you can tell he actually enjoys it, and he involves the crowd at different meets and stuff.
Yeah, and any idea kind of what separates him from everybody else, or the inside tips?
I don't, because like when you look at him, like, and you normally see him on a starting line, like, he's head and shoulders above everybody.
Yeah.
You know, and you'd imagine, like, obviously I'm small, but you'd imagine for taller people like that coming out of the blocks would be an awful lot harder. That's why he doesn't always get the best starts. If you look back in his races, he doesn't always get the best starts, but he's got the endurance then after that. And I don't know if it's down to his stride or his leg length or anything that helps, but he's always heads and shoulders above everybody. But again, as I said, the smaller guys in the blocks seem to get away quicker. But he just eats up the track after that, like, and there's just...
Yeah, it's just lower center of gravity helps him kind of... Yeah, okay.
Exactly, yeah.
It's mad, because it really interests me, because it's such a short sport. Yeah. All the little things matter, monumental, like, it's so crazy.
It is, like, and it's only really when I'm back competitively in the last couple of years, do you actually break your race down. Normally it used to be like you just go out and you run 100 meters, like, and obviously the blocks is a big part of it. But breaking the race down in different stages and stuff, and realizing where you should be at, and that's where races are won or lost, like, it really is. And it's sitting back and after a training session analysing your videos, or getting your coach to analyse your videos. And my coach Mary, she's brilliant, like, she'll record me when I'm training, and she'll look back, she'll go, no, look, your hips need to be higher here, or you need to lift your knees higher here. And it's things like that you need, that you can work on. Maybe when I was younger, it was just like, yeah, just go out, run this race, you know, and that's it. You didn't think about different stages of 100 meters.
Move your legs quicker.
Just
move your legs quicker.
Just move your legs quicker. Get the knees higher, move the legs quicker. Pump them arms, get to the line.
Yeah. Hey, if you've seen the video me and Chris put up there, I thought it was hilarious, because I never see myself running. And my goodness, I look like an absolute idiot. It's so funny.
White arms.
And all up my shoulder. It's so and little short steps. Oh, it's so funny.
That's to be fair. That's my. I very short steps for sprinting. Very, very short steps. But look, through the years, again, trial and error. I tried to lengthen them, and I kept picking up injuries. So I just work with what I have. And
yeah, okay.
For me personally, it's just about more the power of the step off the ground, to try and lift the knees slightly higher. That I'm working on at the minute. But again, that was all stalled for the last 4 months, just with the injury. But that's what I'm kind of focusing on now. Technical kind of stuff I'm working on now, just to try and get the flow right and the rhythm right. Yeah,
I was looking at biomechanical running, and it was like this whole it literally looked like I don't know what you'd call it, one of the attachments on the wheel of a train. You know, it's just kind of in this cyclical motion, and it's like the knee comes, you know, it comes up high, the foot pulls to the butt, it drops down, it kind of comes at an angle, pushes off the ball of the foot, the heel comes back to the butt again, and just this unbelievable movement. And when I seen myself running, I was like, oh my goodness. You know, it's a different movement.
That's it, and that's why all our sessions, any training session, it's all drills. You do all drills at the start of your run to try and train your body to actually do those motions and those movements. And that's what's down to making the big difference in times and races and stuff, to have the motion right. Like, as I said earlier, anyone can go out and run a 100-meter race.
Exactly, yeah.
If you want to go out and compete in it, you have to get the mechanics right. And there's a lot of work in that end of it. The drills, like, we focus maybe 25 minutes at the start of each training session, just doing all our drills to try and get the memory, I suppose, in your legs, to keep that in place when you do start to take off.
Yeah, just drill, and then hopefully when it comes down to it, you can forget it all and just do what feels natural, kind of thing.
That's it, exactly.
Hopefully the drill's ingrained into the muscles in the body.
Exactly. It's just getting it into the mind of the muscle, and just getting moving in that motion the whole time.
Yeah. And what kind of is your approach to diet with it all? Like, how do you kind of fix up your diet when you're maybe on season or off season? What's your approach?
Coming up to races, obviously, I change it. I try and get as much carbs in, and I don't eat a lot of. 2 days before I run, I don't eat a lot of meat, steak, beef, chicken, or anything like that, because, excuse me, I find it very hard to digest it coming up to a race. So it's kind of, I just build on carbs for the couple of days beforehand. In general, coming up to a race, I just try and eat cleaner than I ever would. Like, I generally would be okay diet-wise. I would normally have one day a week anyhow that's not the best day. But I try and hold out throughout the week to have one of those days as my kind of treat or reward, if you want to call it. But no, coming up to race, it's just trying to clean it up a wee bit more veg. Obviously, good meals, good time, plenty of sleep. It's not always ideal. Obviously, you have to live your life and work, get the balance right and stuff like that. But just trying to clean it up, more vegetables, more fruit into the diet. Make sure I'm taking my protein, my creatine after I train, and just getting rest and stuff. So it's just changing the whole. Look, I try and do that on a normal basis. As I said earlier, look, when I'm back running, I'm not half doing it. I'm trying to do it right in all aspects of it. Like, I'm putting a lot of investment into it as well to get it right. So there's no point in kind of training and eating crap all the time. Or don't get me wrong, I like well, when you could go out at the weekend, I like going out. But if I know there's a race coming up, like, I won't drink or anything like that, and I'll go out and I'll be the sensible one, and I'll go home early. But when I'm off season, like, I'll be the opposite. Like, do you know what I mean? I know when to balance it, and I know I have to balance it. But yeah, it's just about being mindful of it. Like, there's no point in going into a race and walking away from a race and going, if I had it right all week, I could have done better. I would rather walk away from a race, maybe with no medal or no PB, and go, I've done everything I could possibly do. I ate right. I trained right. I ran to the best of my ability. It just wasn't my day. Someone was better than me in the day, and I would never want to look back at a race for that reason. Yeah, it'd be very tough to swallow. Yeah, definitely. But you know yourself, you competed for years as well. Like, if you try and do everything right coming up to it, and it just doesn't happen on the day, there's other reasons outside your control for that. Yeah. And that's fine. You just have to get over that. Like, somebody might have trained harder, or someone was just better on the day. And a lot of it, unfortunately, with the racing comes down to on the day anything can happen. Yeah. But I love walking away from a race and going, yeah, look, I've done everything I did. I didn't get a medal. I didn't get a PB. And nothing else I could have done today. Yeah. But if I had known I was out the weekend beforehand or something, and I know, bugger and chip or whatever coming home or whatever, you know, like, it's like, what was the point in training for the last 6 months for that? I was just going to do that, like. Yeah. How do you get yourself into that mindset? Because I know, obviously, like, when I was a kid, I had no discipline. Like, it was great because boxing forced me to have discipline, because I did take some heavy losses. And the next time that I came around to it, you know, you just kind of had to suck it up, because, like you said, you were, I was a poorly disciplined teenager going into a fight, made the wrong decision beforehand, got into the fight, either didn't make it. Well, I actually think I always made the weight, but made the weight badly. Got the head kicked to me, and you know, just the next time around, you were just kind of like, right, I have to take this a little more seriously. If I really do want it, the pain of the loss and knowing that it was kind of my fault, really motivated me for the next time. Do you kind of anything like that? Like, what gets you into that mindset where you're like, you know, I have to take this seriously? It's like you said there. It's the feeling of what I felt when that didn't go right the last time. Yeah. The feeling of walking away from that race, knowing, if I hadn't done this, or if I hadn't done that, as I said earlier, I don't mind walking away from a race. It just didn't work on the day. That would happen. That's just life. But it's the feeling of, if I had done this different during the week, or if I had have not stayed up watching whatever on Netflix or whatever the case may be the night before and didn't get enough sleep, or if I hadn't gone out the weekend before, it's that feeling. I'd always use that feeling to go, no, I'm not letting that happen to me again. Yeah. Or I train too hard. Like, I have too much time away from my family training to come up to a race and not be sensible about it. You know what I mean? Like, it's if you want it that bad, you'll do what you need to do. You know, like, I'm an adult. I know what I need to do to get to where I want to be. You know, as I said, if it doesn't work on the day, it doesn't work on the day. But at least if I can walk away from a race and go, one hand on heart, I've done everything I could possibly do for that race, and it didn't work. Fair enough. Like, that's just the way it is. But it's look, as I said, I'm grown up. I know what needs to be done, or what doesn't need to be done coming up to it. Yeah, I mean, for me, it was a case of I can lose an awful lot more gracefully now. You know, whereas I used to take the heart, man. I used to cry an awful lot. Like, I used to take it personally, like, very, very personally, to the point where it was almost self-esteem destroying. You just feel so awful about yourself, just absolutely. And it was. I think it was a two-part. It was one, because I don't think I was fully sure of what exactly I needed to do, or maybe it was more like I genuinely didn't develop the skills yet, because I was only starting out in the sport.
And because I wasn't very good at the sport, when you'd meet a master or somebody who's way more versed than you, and they would lay it out in front of you, like that was a real humbler. And that's a hard thing to swallow. And then on top of that, to know that the parts that you could have done right that you didn't do right, you know, it makes losing very, very bitter. Whereas now, like I remember my last few fights that I lost, like I walk away with a smiling face, and it's like 100%. I understand why I lost now. You know, I'm going to learn from that. I'm going to take that and apply it in my training next time. Whereas when I was younger, I just hadn't the gumption to do that.
Yeah, and that's what you said there. Like it is, you need to look back and analyze and say, what can I take away from that? Like there's always a positive out of everything.
Yeah.
I mightn't feel it at the time, but there is always a positive out of everything. Like my nationals race there in March that I got the silver and bronze in. To the bronze in the 200, and the 200 is not my favourite event by any way, shape or form, but I started training for it over the last 6 months previous to March. And the girl that bet me second place, I've been beating her all season. But look, it just wasn't my day. I hurt myself warming up, and that was just it. I'd done the damage there, and she was a better athlete on the day.
Do you think that extending yourself onto 200 meters did anything to do it while you got injured?
No, well, physio wise now, it's a lot of it's to do with my mechanics. It's to do with placing my foot on the ground.
Okay.
Really when you're running, like your foot, he was telling me, is like heel, kind of ball of foot, toe outside of your foot. That's the kind of motion you should be at. I was heel outside of my foot, toe and ball. I was kind of the opposite way.
A little bit inverted.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So he said that caused a problem. He said it didn't just. He says obviously a tore. He says, and you did get a serious enough injury out of it. He said, but it was a gradual thing. I felt a niggle the week before. I didn't think anything of it. I kept going. It didn't get any worse. I kept going. I was still able to run. But just the day of the race warming up, I felt it before the 60 meters. I knew it before. I knew coming out of the blocks in the 60 meters that I wasn't in full flow. But look, the girl that won it, she was a better athlete.
That has literally happened to me. Like I literally had, and it's just such an awful coincidence, because I remember, like, and maybe it's not such a coincidence because you do kind of ramp yourself up before the event. But I remember, like, 3 years in a row, I got sick the day or two before the event. Really? Like, trained my ass off, did everything right, and then on the day, literally was getting sick in the toilet. And it wasn't nerves, because I've had nerves sick before. Yeah. Like I just caught the flu. Yeah. And it's a little bit to do with the fact that the competition's around, you know, October, November time, you know, it's nearly flu season anyway. Yeah. But so disheartening. You know, it literally was, it's awful.
Yeah, it's very hard. Like the couple of weeks now after the Nationals, I was just so frustrated. I was like, why couldn't it happen to me? And then there was a week where I kind of, look, everybody in sprinting and distance running, I don't know much about distance running, but I know for sprinting, like I know when I peak in a season. I'm on race 5. I peak in race 5, and that's always the way it has been for me.
How do you mean race 5? Race 5 into the
5 competitive races.
Oh, cool. Okay.
I always get my best time. That's the way it's gone for me over the last couple of years. But the Nationals was race 6. It was only when I look back on my plan afterwards, when I was kicking myself over it, I went, I'll not let that happen again, you know. So it might just have been coincidence. I don't know.
So next time you'd plan the Nationals to be race 5?
Yeah, well, it's not going to happen now, you see, because of COVID. We're only going to have, hopefully we're going to have the Leinsters on the 14th of August and the Nationals on the 6th. So I will only have 2 races. Now there's a possibility of a couple of graded meets. It's just you go, event set up, you go and run for a time, you race each other for a time. And there might be a couple of them for that, but we won't get a full season like out of it. So you just have to make do with what you have, like. But normally, like as you said, looking back, if it was something I would pick out of it, like that would be something. Why did I run 5 races before the Nationals?
Yeah,
you know, but like
hindsight's 20/20.
That's it, exactly, and it's something you learn from. You know, we won't do it again. Like, and we'll wait and see what happens.
Yeah, my goodness, I know it's such a fickle thing. So nice.
It's, as you said, it's so frustrating when you put so much time and energy into it, and everything you sacrifice so much for all your training. And for something to a certain extent is out of your control to happen, like it's just so frustrating, like so frustrating. But that, you have to. There's no point in wallowing it. As I said earlier, I'm an adult. Just have to get up, get on with it, put your head down, and start all over again. That's what you have to do, like.
I feel like I bring Jim Rohn up every podcast, but he's got a great kind of saying to do with it, and it really held true for me because, like I said, it was two bad years in a row after, like I said, putting in that 8 months of work near enough, and it was, you know, it's like if a farmer plants a seed, and you know it hails and ruins the crop, it's like, are you just not supposed to plant again?
That's it. Yeah, that's true.
It's like, it sucks. Yeah. I know it sucks, and it wasn't supposed to happen, and you lost your yield. But if you don't plant next year, you know, don't let it spoil the whole thing just because of an unfortunate coincidence.
That's it. Look, you have to look at it as, look, I'm delighted to be back running. I'm fit and healthy, and delighted to be doing it. And every day is not going to be a good day. It's going to be bad days, you know. And you just have to learn from it. You take the positives from it and move on. Like,
that's it. And like I said, at the end of the day, it's about you enjoying your sport.
That's it, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Look, there's a lot of people in my age, maybe, I don't know, for different reasons, they can't do it. So yeah, you just have to be grateful for what you have, like, and what you work with. And I get up in the morning, I know I'm training that night, I enjoy it. I enjoy training, like, so it's my decision to do it, and I love doing it, so I'll keep doing it as long as I can.
Yeah, and you mentioned maybe getting in a bit of powerlifting.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind doing that after.
I really do think I'd like to do a bit of powerlifting as well. I think it's such an interesting sport.
Yeah, it's definitely something I'd try. I'd definitely try. Obviously, I couldn't do it in conjunction with the running, with the sprinting, but I would try it at some stage. As I said, look, I love a challenge, especially when it comes to sport. I love doing different things. I was going to study it in college, and I decided against it. And kind of, that's another thing. I'm like, I might go back to college in the evenings and maybe pick up on something like that, you know?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
But no, look, I love a challenge, and in sport, and being fit and healthy and things like that. And maybe someone's saying you can't do something in sport for different reasons, you're a woman or this or that, women can't lift. And that, I suppose that was something for a long time. Women don't lift weights and all this kind of crack. I'm like, why? You know, why not? Why can't we?
Yeah.
You know,
it's not that you can't, it's just that for a long time you didn't.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, you know, that's it. It's like, I feel like it's the same thing as, you know, men doing ballet, that whole Billy Elliot movie. You know, it's like, it's not that they can't, it's just that they don't in general.
Exactly. It just wasn't a done thing for a long time, like, and it's just, everything's changed now. But no, any new challenge for me, as I said, well, put it this way, when I'm told someday I can't run, maybe because of an injury or whatever the case may be, I'll be looking for something else to do. So
yeah, definitely. I feel like powerlifting as well, it's the weightlifting equivalent to sprinting.
Yeah.
A big, short, explosive burst, get all the little small things right. You know, every little thing matters. Do it good, do it right, and explode.
Exactly.
You know, it's really, I really like powerlifting. I think I'd like sprinting as well. But as well as that, like, I got into the long distance run as well. I don't know, there's something, like, I definitely felt that when I did the long distance run, it literally it steals the speed from your legs.
Yeah, you're not. It's different twitch fibers and stuff in your legs, and it's just, I think you're either built for one or the other. Like, it's, as I said earlier, anyone can go out and enjoy a 3K and a 5K, or vice versa with sprinting and stuff. But like, if you want to be decent at it, like, it's. Don't get me wrong, doing the 3Ks and that, like, on a nice evening, it can be nice to do, but not something I'd wake up in the morning and go out for a nice 5K today.
It's so funny because for me, 5K is a short run.
Yeah.
And a half marathon is a long run. And for you, obviously, because you run so short, you know, 5K is a long run, and a half marathon is just ridiculous.
That's the thing, like, even you be at the track there and you see people doing 5K on the track, and I'm just looking going, why? Like, why? But that's their discipline. That's what they enjoy doing. Like, I appreciate that. But yeah, no, it's, and you put it this way, anything over 200 is long for me.
Yeah, I did a 5K with Laura. Laura, guys, is Ashton's sister. I remember she was here in the gym and she was looking for a PB, and Stephen, basically, I was just sitting there, and Stephen said, "Oh, sure, Brandon, you'll jump on the race there and give her a good push." Now, if anybody knows Laura, like, Laura would be at least 100 times runner than I am. But like I said, I get very, very competitive, and I just made sure to get an inch ahead of her and just try and hold that line for as long as I could. And obviously, like I said, if you kind of get ahead. Now, I don't know, in fairness, I don't think, like, she finished the race with a smile on her face, and I finished, there was a picture of me, and I literally looked like a zombie. Like, I took it personally, like, as I'm going to die or I'm going to win. And it was just a little bit of motivation, but because she's such a runner, she sat behind me, and I said, like, she was probably chanting away or whatever, and I was trying my best. I literally had a pain in my chest and my stomach. I thought I was going to die a few times. But like I said, there's something about that intensity that was just like a 5K is intense. The same way you kind of enjoy that intensity of a sprint. You know, it's like, I'm sure for the big boys doing the 5K at this hard pace that they can maintain, like, I'm sure it's just similar kind of intensity. I don't know why it is. Yeah, human beings we love to be ramped up right to the end gear for some reason.
That's it, exactly, yeah.
Well, the athletes do anyway.
Definitely. Look,
just on the edge of they could all fall off, or you know, we could win.
Exactly. You have to give it all in everything you do. There's no point in looking back, as I said, and just going, why didn't I push myself that wee bit harder? Like, same even in the gym there, it's like some days you're tired and you're going in, or whatever the case may be, and it's just like, we're walking in the door going, I'm not feeling this today. When you're there, you're still going to push yourself.
Yeah.
You're not just going to kind of half hour. Well, you won't let us anyhow. But
that's why coaching's amazing.
Huh?
That's why coaching's amazing. Like, because it's something we always got growing up. You know, like literally, I remember showing up some days, and if there was no coach there, I literally would have just sat on the floor. And when there's a coach there, they make you give, even if there's nothing in the tank. It's like, well, look here, I honestly don't like. I don't care how you feel. To be fair, like, it's not my job to coddle to your feelings. You know, it's my job to push you. And even if that means you're not going to get anywhere close to your PB, whatever is in that sponge today, we're going to wring it dry.
Yeah, that's it. Like if as I said, if you have a bad day or a shit day at work or whatever the case may be, if you physically get up off the sofa and made it to the door of the gym, you're halfway there. Like, you know, like even if it's a bad day, once you walk in that door, you're going to do it. Like, yeah,
it's nearly starting George part. Once you're kind of in it, you're like, right, fine. We're like, the momentum's nearly carrying now, but it's always the thoughts, but just that dread.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
People, I think as well, because we have such a relaxed lifestyle, you know, for the most part, obviously, like, it's not physically intense to that same level. Like, I think back to boxing and I think of like an intensity and an effort level that I had to put out. Like, I can still remember we went up to a boxing club in Dublin and I had this spar, and I was literally same as the race with Laura, except it was the fighting equivalent. Like, I literally was going to die in the ring. Like, literally, like, I genuinely thought I was going to die after the first round, and there was still 2 more to go. And I was like, what? And then not even after that, then we did 2 more rounds, and they're like, should we go again? Please, no. And we just don't realize that we have that, like, we can literally dig that deep, like, where you think you're done, and you think you're not even at 100, you think you're at 150%, and we're going to do that 3 more times.
Yeah.
It's like, that's really what we're capable of.
Yeah, that's it, exactly. And everybody has some kind of determination or stubbornness, maybe, I don't know, in them that will push them on and get them through anything like that as well. Like,
yeah. So just briefly, how do you feel maybe the Fighting Fit training? Like, how do you find it compared to maybe any other training you've done, or does it complement your running, or does it, you know, do you have to kind of juggle it?
Yeah, no, it does. It makes a big difference. As I said, I've been going to different gyms for years, and no disrespect to any other gym, I was going and doing what I enjoy doing, and it was lifting heavy weights and whatever the case may be. But it was Laura got on to me about Fighting Fit, she's asking, you love it, come, the boys are brilliant, it was grand. I went down for the week trial in the old gym, I suppose, if you want to say, 2 years ago now nearly, and I knew from the first 2 days, I was like, yeah, that's me, I'm here, that's it. Just one-on-one coaching is a big difference. I did personal training for 4.5 years with the same lad, and he was brilliant. It was absolutely amazing. He left, and I was like, if he's going, I'm going, because that's all I knew for the 4.5 years. Yeah. And I went to a different gym, and like that, I could go in and spend 1.5 hours in a session, and I'd do my program, a program made out for me, and I'd do the program, but it just still wasn't the same enjoyment in it. And as I said, it just wasn't complementing my running at all. So when I went down to Fighting Fit, I dropped my weights down quite a bit from what I know I could have done, and do more reps, and that kind of ties in with my plyometric work and stuff for my running. Yeah. The cardio end of it and the intensity of it, and the HIIT sessions in particular, like, that just keep you constantly moving, has really complemented. Like, as I said earlier, when I started a couple of years ago with yourselves, I ran my first 60 in 9.1, and I'm now down to 8.59 was my quickest last season.
That's unreal.
And that was just with the change in my training, as I said, my mindset, my diet and everything, but that all came with you guys as well. Like, you could go into any gym there and the coach might say to you, hey, you're eating going grand, yeah? But if I'm actually logging it now, I know if I'm logging it, anybody can look at it at any stage, and it's accountability, like, and it makes such a difference. but it's also the group that's there. Like, there's a great group there. There's banter, there's crack. You enjoy going. It's a half-hour session. You're in, out. I can still go and run them before or after it if I need to. I can try and make my session for that week. You can plan your week. There's plenty of options for classes and stuff as well. But it's made such a difference. Plus, what I do find is you guys are generally interested in us doing well. I can only talk obviously about myself. I know you are in general, but for myself, like, I know if I've races coming up, you guys would always say to me, best of luck, let me know how you get on, or many weeks have you left for your race. And it's kind of, obviously I do it for myself because I love doing it, but it's good to know that somebody else is kind of, like, how are you getting on? Like, how's it going for you?
They're supporting you.
Exactly, yeah, and that makes such a difference. And you don't just get that in the normal big gyms out there. As I said, there's very good coaches out there as well. I know that. But just that's what I find about it is the group in it. That's there, and there's a bit of banter and crack as well. You get your job done, you get your training session done, you can have the crack and banter after it. But for me personally, for the running end of it, like, it's brought me on leaps and bounds. Like, I've knocked a second off my times, and sprinting, that's huge.
And like we discussed, that's massive.
Yeah, it's huge. Like, as I said, I'm not always in it for the medals. I am this year because I want that gold medal. But like, if I can walk away from my races and go, look, at the end of the season, I can go, in a good season, I increase or I decrease my times massively. Like, that's half the battle for me. Like, the 200s, as I mentioned earlier, I only took up recently. I went from 31 for my first 200s to 28.8.
That's unreal.
Since I joined Fighting Fit, like, so like, there's a massive difference in it. I think that the half-hour sessions are making a huge difference. As I said earlier, in different gyms, I had programs there that I just walked through the program at my own pace, and it could take an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Then I'm wondering why I can't run them.
It's a bit of a time slog as well, really, isn't it?
It is, to be fair, because look, I train 8 and 9 times a week on a normal week. I do the 5 sessions generally in Fighting Fit, and I do 3 or 4 sessions. Running wise, or my drills one evening, whatever the case may be. So, like, it's a lot of time away from home as well as working full time. So, like, it suits. Like, I can do a half-hour session there, and I can go do half-hour drills. Yeah. And then I know my next night is my longer stuff. So, you know, it works very well. It complements me personally for the running big time. Plus, to be honest with you, I'm a completely different athlete than I was a few years ago since I started there. I can see it. I look back on old videos. I even look at my technique and everything, and I look back. I've a lot more core strength, which kind of my posture and stuff running has completely changed. I look back at videos from 3 years ago. Jesus Christ, what was I thinking? Like, what was I doing? I
was the same. I had a wee look back there. I've got a video of me when I just started doing a little bit of Olympic lifting, and that, like, one of the great things about Olympic lifting is like, if there's a hole in your, like, posture and mobility, like, it just kind of shows it. My goodness. Like, if you're not actively working on it, I mean, you're just forming into the shape of the chair. And that shows, like I said, probably when you're sprinting, like, especially, it's fine if you're a couch potato and you're just going into a little bit of keep fit, all that kind of stuff. If you're an athlete, these, like I said, these little things matter. You know, your range of motion in your stride, the position of your chest, the range of motion in your shoulders and your arms to get that extra drive. It all really plays a factor.
Well, it does. And that goes down to I find with the classes, like, I'm not just sitting here because you're in front of me saying it, but he's correct us when posture's wrong or whatever. And I know for a long time, and I've worked on it so much over the last few months, I had a problem with my shoulders been forward the whole time, and for a while there, you're constantly bashing shoulders back. And I'm more mindful, but I found a difference in my running technique now because I'm pinning my shoulders back, which means I'm powering my arms more. You know, so it's a knock-on effect everywhere. But if you're, I suppose, in a normal setting in a gym, there's nobody there to correct you.
Yeah, unless you pay out your fucking ear for PT.
That's the thing, like, exactly. And it's a small setting there as well, obviously, even before COVID and stuff. Like, it's a small setting there, and you can keep an eye on us, and like, you know what we're all individually there for as well, you know, and the advice and everything. Like, I know at the end of any session there, I can go to you and say, look, I have a bit of a niggle here, what I do, or whatever the case may be. Like, so it's made me a far better athlete.
You've been great to have, Aisling. Honestly, it's great to see. Like I said, I say it every podcast. Anybody that takes the coaching on board is like, it literally makes my day. If I see somebody and I say something to them, and like I said, and then obviously because there's no quick fix over a few months, if you can really see the change, like that's honestly what motivates me. And it's like, oh, thank God somebody's listening.
Yeah, exactly. I can imagine that, for yourselves, like, as coaches. Definitely. But look, for me, there's no point in, as I keep saying, doing it half hours. Like, I'm in it for the whole thing, like, and if that comes down to food or posture or technique or anything like that and training, like, you just have to do it all right. You can't just decide what bits you like doing and do them more than others, or whatever the case may be. Like, it's a whole program. Like,
Yeah, you really have to double down on your weaknesses.
yeah,
I
definitely.
mean, it's everybody, like, it's great to run the pattern that you've mastered, but you know, you're not going to grow much. Like I said, especially if you're coming to the upper limits of it, it's like, it's great to keep it sharp, but then it's time to start, you know, doubling down. Like, what's the chink in your armor? If there's a chink in your armor, that's probably the place to double down on.
Yeah, that's it, exactly. You have to be aware of that yourself, though, as well.
And it's great as well for a coach, because you're only behind your two eyes. And unless you're training, you're recording your sessions, or you're constantly looking at yourself in the mirror, it's great to have somebody who kind of knows what it's supposed to look like, and to be able to just give you a cue right on the spot, shoulders back. Oh, yeah, I forgot. You know, or knees out, or giving you cues that maybe you don't even know, like, oh, your feet are supposed to be straight. I didn't know that. It's great.
Exactly. Look, and at the end of the day, it prevents injuries as well as everything else. Like, so like, it's great to have that there on a constant basis, like when you are training.
Yeah, and again, it's all for naught without the diet.
That's it, exactly. Like, as I said, like, I'm sure a lot of people are the same over COVID there now. I struggled with diet, and it was pure frustration more than anything else, because I would kind of be, if you want a better word, emotional leader.
Yeah.
Like, if something doesn't go right, it's just like, I'm either not eating anything today, or I'm just going to eat crap. And that's just the way it is. But you can't train and eat crap. Like, it just doesn't. Well, I personally don't have the energy. If I eat crap, I don't have the energy to train anyhow.
I just get injured. That's if I notice, if I don't eat right and I train, because like I said, I just have this mindset that I've kind of tapered back. I used to give 95% in every single session. It was just kind of, that was the mindset we were brought up with boxing. It was like, if you show up here, we die here. That's the mindset. And what I noticed was, I used to get injured an awful lot, because you literally can't sustain that. And then when you get tired and that's your mindset, your mechanics go wonky, and then that's when you get injured. So now it's a case where I will literally train to 70 to 80% consistently, and I'll probably do that forever. That's a lot more sustainable. It's a lot easier on the body, and you can run with that for long term. But if my diet isn't right, I know if I go 70, 80 to 90%, something blows every time. My wrist, my elbow, my shoulder, my knee, my back, whatever it is. It's because, what did I say? It's like you're trying to build a house with rusty nails.
Yeah, and it makes sense. Like, it makes sense. To me, there's no point in training if you're not 95% of the time eating right. Like, that everybody, like, we're all human at the end of the day. Like, you're going to have days, or you're going to have times where it's just like, oh, that was just an awful day food wise. You just get up in the morning and start again. I would
literally I would say 80-20, you know, and for the vast majority, 70%. Like, for you, you're talking from an athlete perspective. And unfortunately, when you're an athlete, it's 90-95% of the time. Unfortunately, you know, because if you're eating shit, there's somebody out there not eating shit, and chances are that's who you're going to be competing against. But if you're just competing against yourself, and you're coming from a place where maybe you're not an athlete, you're just overweight, you're just unfit, you know, 70% will do the job right. You know, eat really good Monday to Saturday at 6 p.m. and then, you know, Saturday, have your cheat meal, whatever that evening, have a good breakfast Sunday morning, have a cheat meal Sunday, few snacks, and get back on track. You know, one thing I kind of realized more and more that I work here is people actually don't have a problem with the diet plans. People have a problem with maintenance plans. People, it's not like because I constantly see this. Boom. Anybody watching, I'm going down the graph and back up the graph. And the issue is, it's not actually going down the graph. It's the fact that they can't find normal. Because I know myself, like, I literally, like, if I don't eat sugar on a day, it's a very rare day. Yeah. But my thing is, like, I literally will pretty fluctuate about 5 to 10% from where I am. Whereas, you know, it's an awful lot of people that kind of swing up 20, 30%. And then that kind of leaves them yo-yo, because you go from having this big project to do, and then once the big project is over, you have to go back onto this big, you know, relapse almost. And then at the end of your relapse, now you've got another big project on your hands. Yeah. You know, so for an awful lot of people, like I said, I'm sure you've probably got no issue at this stage. You found that lifestyle that suits you. Yeah, that's it, exactly. And as I said, look, on off season, the eating's not the same as it normally is. Like when I'm training, the off season now, we'll be finished now in September. We won't restart training probably the end of October. So I know that gap there, I can take the foot off the pedal slightly. Not too much, because you don't want to be starting from scratch again.
But you can take the foot off the pedal. And I know my year. I know what way it goes. I know coming up to races, I just have to clean it up even more than I would in a normal week and stuff. Like, you just know whatever event you're involved in or whatever your normal day-to-day plan is, like, you know yourself, you have to be responsible for it. Like,
yeah, we used to take 3 months off every year with boxing, and I remember, like, I literally was starting fresh every year. Like, every year, so you take 3 months off, you literally would not do a tap and not focus on your diet at all. Like I said, poor discipline, whatever. When you go back after them 3 months, square one, getting sick on the side of the field again.
That's the thing, like, and you don't want to, and that's what I kept talking to you about even when I was injured there over COVID. Like, I knew my food wasn't great. I knew it wasn't. But I was so frustrated then as well with I couldn't do any cardio. There was very little cardio work I could skip. That was it. Yeah. Neighbours were laughing at me because I actually thought there was a child in my garden constantly skipping. But that was literally the only cardio I could do, and that's what I was concerned about, was coming back and having to start from scratch again to build my fitness before I even think about racing.
Yeah, I know. I'm fair play for not letting it all go to the pot, because I'm sure an awful lot of people did, and that is honestly what differentiate the athletes from the non-athletes, because you kind of have this goal in the back of your mind, this high intensity event that has to be done. You know, you just can't sit in your arse. That's the thing, like,
that's the thing, like, and I was signed up for the Europeans there in March, and look, it wouldn't have happened anyhow with the injury because it was due to be the week after the Nationals, but that is postponed until January. Now at the minute, obviously COVID and everything, I don't know if it'll go ahead. They're saying at the minute there's a possibility it will. So, like, that's the focus now for January. So, like, normally, as I said, our off season would be September until the end of October. That'll probably be cut even shorter now because we'd be building for the European indoors in January. But you just have to get the balance right now. Like, you just have to know what way to work it. If I want to be in them Europeans, I know what I have to do. Like, and I can't just eat crap and train whenever I feel like. You have to have a plan in place and you have to work through it. Like, that's just it.
And sometimes, it's so important to kind of have that higher meaning, because rice and broccoli and chicken can be very boring, you know, if that's kind of your approach, or steak and eggs or whatever it is. You know, after a point, it's going to hit a point where it's like, you know, I'm just not bothered. So it's like, you better have something better than rice or better than the Chinese to just kind of switch on to. It needs to be this, oh, well, how good would it feel to be walking away with a European gold medal?
That's it, exactly. Like, you have to put it in perspective at times, and sometimes you just need to rein yourself back in a wee bit. If you are having a bad week or a bad 2 weeks or whatever the case may be, you just need to rein it back in and go, how bad do I want this? Like, you know, it's something you want to focus on. You just need to knuckle down and do it.
So, and just on this, Aisling, anybody listening, do you have any kind of pro tips for anybody that's struggling for motivation? You know, they need to kick it up the arse. They're looking to maybe achieve something that they've never achieved before. What advice would you give them?
Just if there's something you always wanted to do, no matter what anyone tells you, no matter how you feel on that day that you decide, oh, I should have gone back to, I don't know, football, running, anything like that, just get up and do it. Baby steps. You're not going to be back to the best of your ability within a few months, even maybe a year. You're still not going to be. If there's something you want and you want it that bad, just get up and do it. And once you're enjoying it, you'll do it for as long as you can. Mix with the right people, get into the right group of people, be it coaches, be it gyms. Do it, I suppose, mix with people of the same mindset as you, and that's I found that was half the battle. Like, look, when we were in college, I remember distinctly, and it was always something that stuck in my head, and it was always something that motivated me, and completely away from running, but you know what I mean when I say it. It was when we were very young. We found out we were having our daughter. We were 20, and I went to one of the lecturers and told him, look, I'm pregnant, I'm going to be missing a lot of classes, whatever else. And his words to me were, and it always stuck with me, and that's a long time ago. He said to me, oh, that's it, education out the window. That's it. That's everything gone. No education, no nothing. You'll make nothing of yourself. And I just went, right, okay. And that was the motivation from that day that I kind of went, nobody's going to tell me I'm not going to be able to do anything in this life. Absolutely nobody is going to tell me I'm not going to do anything. Look, we went out and sat our exams 9 days after our daughter was born. Pure stubbornness, let me tell you. And
do you think he meant it, or was he doing it to egg you on?
No. He was a funny character, a very good lecturer, but a very funny character. But no, he genuinely meant that. Like, he was just like, oh, that's it, your life's over, and education. And I was kind of like, all right, okay. And yes, look, we were young. We bought a house 3 years later. We sat our exams, we got our diplomas, we got our degrees. But that always stuck in my head. And if there's ever a day that I'm kind of running, even in particular, and I'm feeling down, I'm like, remember what someone like him said. They always told you couldn't do something. You can get up and do whatever it is you want to do. Once you're fit and healthy, there's something you genuinely want to get back involved in. Why can't you do it? Don't let people put obstacles in your way. You're your own person. You have one life. Just go out and live it and do it, whatever it is that you want to do and whatever you enjoy doing.
That's awesome. Great advice. Aisling, thanks so much for joining us on the podcast. Really, really good talking to you. Good fun. Great information. You're some woman.
Don't know about that, Brandon. Thanks a million. Thanks for everything.
Fair play. Great stuff. All right, guys. Thanks so much for listening to us. And hopefully we'll hear you in the next, or we'll see you in the next one. You'll hear us. And thanks so much. That has been the Fighting Fit Show. I've been Brandon. That's been Aisling. And we'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Thanks, Brandon.